We're driving up a narrow dirt mountain road in western Uganda when the water pump in the rented Toyota Land Cruiser fails. We have to get to Lake Mutanda that evening because we have reservations to see the mountain gorillas the next morning. I'm traveling with my friends Cindy and Chuck. We're glamping near national parks, greeted by a wild elephant at a reception area, watching giraffes feeding on acacia trees, floating down the river alongside hippos, and seeing lion cubs wrestling with their father from 20 feet away. But now we may miss out on the main attraction of our trip. What are we going to do? There's a road crew up ahead. They're working with pickaxes and hoes and shovels. One young man comes over to talk to us. He has a friend who's a mechanic in the village that we just traveled through. He runs the kilometer back up to see him, and in about half an hour the mechanic appears, and he looks at the engine, and he goes back to get his tools. He returns with one wrong wrench. And so it goes, one tool at a time for several hours. Chuck then says, "Better get out the duct tape and dental floss, we're going to need it." Cindy and I walk up to the village to get a SIM card for her phone so that she can call Road Trip Uganda, the travel agency that rented the vehicle to us. On the way, we pass some people working on a car that is raised over a dugout area. I understand then that is where the mechanic works. He has minimal tools, and he definitely does not have a lift. Another hour goes by with Cindy getting the SIM card and Chuck watching the mechanic completely disassemble the engine of this Land Cruiser. We're never going to get to see the mountain gorillas, but the mechanic has a friend who's willing to drive us down to Lake Mutanda. He arrives in a Toyota Corolla. It's dark out now and it's raining, and Uganda has clay soil. It's like driving on jello that hasn't quite set. We transfer our luggage and get into the car and immediately get stuck. The driver says, "Get out, you're too heavy, walk up to the top." Caked in mud, drenching wet, we get back into his car and continue on. Then he says, "You like music?" Who doesn't? We never expected to hear country and western. We travel along some more, and all of a sudden he stops the car in the middle of the road, leaving the engine running. He leaves the car, goes to the back to take a leak behind the car, leaving us there singing "Save the Last Dance for Me" along with Dolly Parton. It pours rain the entire 5-hour trip down to Lake Mutanda. We dodge mudslides and rock slides and drive around down trees and somehow arrive there for a late night dinner. The next morning, we're up at 5 a.m. to catch the bus so that we can hike up to see the mountain gorillas in Bwindi impenetrable forest. Wisely, each one of us hires our own guide to keep us on the slick, wet trails of the rainforest with these vines on one side and a 1,000-foot drop on the other. But then we get to see the mountain gorillas And this family has babies sliding down the tree trunks, and their older siblings and their females and the silverback resting in the afternoon sun. That evening, when we returned to Lake Matanda Resort, there in the parking area, greeting us is that same Toyota Land Cruiser waiting to take us on the rest of our road trip. Thank you.